Welcome back to the lab. It's Friday. You're back again. There's quite a few videos in a row, isn't it? So thanks for all the support so far. This morning we're still working on that fuel tank that I was making for this thing here. I'll show you where I'm up to. Some funny marks on the outside. Why? Oh, because I welded something from the inside. Baffles. Only two, really. It's our main baffle, which is the one that I showed you in that previous video with our little one-way valve arrangement here, which some people say that'll never seal properly. It's not designed to, okay? I don't expect that to seal 100%. That is just for the bulk of the fuel that's sloshing around. It'll do a reasonable job, an effective job. Same deal with this one here. This baffle is actually on an angle. When that goes in the car, it's actually leaning back, so the top of it is behind the bottom of it, and the reason for that is any fuel that's in here under braking, I want to try and minimize how much can slosh out. So we've sort of, might have that much fuel in there under quite hard braking, so we've still got some for the surge tank here. And then I wanted a check valve on that one as well, just to try and catch what's in here, what does go over there. I want it to get back to there as quick as possible. So I built a check valve with a counterbalance on it, so that it will stay closed when we want it to. Because if we didn't have a counterbalance on there, then that would want to hang straight down, which wouldn't seal. And of course, if we just had a simple, just folded that out and just left it flat, then when the fuel comes up here, it's going to push against that, it's going to push it open. So I reduced this by folding it around, so we've still got the weight that we need with minimal surface area up here for thinking. So I mean, you can do that sort of thing with rubber flaps as well. They'll work far more efficiently, and you can seal the corners and everything a lot better than what I have done and get a better result. Or you can just have, one suggestion was just have 4 fuel pumps and run them into a surge tank and take a main pump from there, or 2 main pumps from there. But heck, I want to try and keep the things simple, as maintenance free as possible, and keep the costs down and keep it light. Of course, costs don't stay down if you fry your engine because you have fuel surge, but we've never had issues before with the fuel foam in there. I'm thinking this is probably going to be a reasonably effective way of doing it, given that usually when I'm trying to set a hot lap, it's the second or the third lap, so we've probably still got 2/3 of a tank of fuel in there. I don't think fuel surge is an issue, but I'm just doing this just while we're at it. Right, you're probably not ever going to see that ever again. I'm going to make the plate that goes onto the end here now, and then stop and think. I'll do this panel on the top here first. Then we can set up our fuel system and everything, our fuel pumps, and we can sit there and look right at it and see what we've got going on, make sure it's right, rather than doing things by measurement. It's getting a bit late in the day. Not sure I'll get too much more progress done on this today. So, fuel access to put our pumps in there, reasonable size access. Don't mind these sitting here. Just put them there just now. Don't have fuel pumps lying around and swarf, although they will swarf in my hands. So we've got to fit 2 of those side by side in through there. We should be able to tuck them through and get them down in that hole down there. Look at that, the wires are just long enough, depending on how we deal with getting that through the panel. There's a few options. There's spend some money or make some things. You shouldn't pick up things like that by the wires, but these pumps don't weigh very much, so that's okay. Pop down the road and got some 4mm thick aluminium. So if we put that on there like that and did some screws up, that would absolutely leak like a sieve. There would be fuel everywhere. If we put some fuel-proof sealant on here, might be okay. What I'm going to do is use a gasket. Okay, because I've used rib nuts or nutserts or whatever people want to call them, the fuel is going to get to the thread and it's going to come up the thread past the screw and it's going to come out under the screw hole. So what you have to do is you have to put a fiber washer under the head of the screws although I'm thinking I might want to run countersunk screws on there. So that would kind of stuff that plan. So we might have to pop an O-ring in the top of the nutcert there and do it that way, and that'll work. That'll be enough. Or fuel-proof grease and the nutcert, that'll absolutely work fine. So I've got to figure out how I'm gonna, well, not how, where I'm going to put our fittings that we've got over there to get fuel out of here. And I'm going to, I haven't got them over here, sorry, so I can't show you right now. I'm going to put the fuel filters up here. Well, that's what I'm thinking. I'm going to make sure they actually fit. They might not go there, they might go on the panel that's over here. And I can't show you because it's up there. Progress report on the patrol. I've sorted that. I've rebuilt the master cylinder. Funny, you can see the master cylinder from here, can't you? A big white thing right in the middle of your screen back there. So I rebuilt the original factory master cylinder and we're good as gold. That's resolved. It's all working and everything. So what a hassle. Never mind. It happens. Cool. I'm going to... It says 3 o'clock, but honestly it's dark and gloomy like it's 4 o'clock. I might get more done than what I said I would. I'll make some brackets and stuff. Let's do the bracket first. We figure out where the bracket goes to hold the pumps, because the fuel fittings can go almost anywhere, whereas the bracket's going to be quite specific and have to do something quite funky. It's going to have to start here somewhere and work its way all the way, quite a long way down to our little sump down there. You liar! You liar! I just said just a couple of seconds ago in the previous clip that it feels a bit later than that. It's 4 o'clock. That's running an hour late. Liar, liar. That's the basics for the bracket. Kind of sorted out. I have just bolted that on there. They will have fibre washers under there to seal them. Either that or I'll just do them up FT. And the aluminium will basically crush and make its own seal. The other side will, not so much the 4mm thick panel there. Yep, you could make a fancy bracket on there to hold that on there. You absolutely could, and there's no reason why you shouldn't. I'm just going to use cable ties, because realistically that's all we need to do. It just needs to be secured to there so it doesn't wander off or fall off, and it just needs to hold it there so when you take that panel off it comes out with it. So the next thing we need to do is, I'm not going to put the cable ties on those right now, and obviously I'll hold those just ever so slightly up off the bottom of the tank so that they don't chafe a hole through the bottom of the tank. But, well, it's never going to happen anyway. It's 2mm thick. It would have maintenance before that would be an issue. The next thing we need to resolve is we've got to get the fuel from here out here. The in-tank hose, you can't use an all fuel hose, it has to be special in-tank hose. The in-tank hose that they've supplied with the pump is a bit short one end, so that's no good. You can buy that, there's various different brands available. It's very expensive, and it's actually cheaper to, I'm not sure where they are, but it's cheaper to go into my drawer of lots of things and find some hoses that we can use and make an adapter to go onto the end of the fuel pump. Just go AN 200 series hose up to our bulkhead fittings on this tank. Much betterer and saferer and more gooderer. So we'll do that. Don't use push lock hoses on E85. No, 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 no. Bad, 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 bad. It's 5:30 now. I better get a wriggle on. So I found those bits. They were on the shelf. We're one hose end short of having enough to do what I want to do. Just using stuff that was lying around. So we've got, that is probably just about the perfect length actually. Oh, sorry, terrible camera work here. By the time we have something on the end of there, and that goes up to there, that is going to be a potential to use just like that. put an olive in the end of there, and put a fitting on there, and we'll be away. That one's going to be a bit long, so we can take that off and we can put a new olive in it, shorten it up, put a new olive, and be good to go. Not that we need black hoses inside the fuel tank. There's plenty of brand new, not black hose. And here's, well, some of, a lot of, most of, I guess you'd say, the original fuel system. These are AN8 hoses, which we will no longer require. So we can throw those, I guess we can go in this drawer here, which is overflowing. That's never going to close now, so there you go. And these ones here, which we're going to need a couple of hoses to go from the top of this panel here, wherever I put the fittings. Might as well put them over this side, I guess, and have them pointing that general direction. Going to need a couple of hoses to go from here, wherever the filters are going to end up. Not those ones, those are the primaries. There they are, secondary filters. Which way is the check valve on that? Flow goes towards us. They might be a bit big to put up there. Can't put them there. We'll put them down here on this panel that's down here. That way, maybe two of them side by side like that. That'll be nice. Yeah, they're long enough to do that. That's good. That means one of those. Oh, all I wanted was a straight hose end to make it easy, but we don't have. Got a couple of 45s. That'll work. Straights on the bottom there, 45s up here where these two fittings are. Hose clamps and whatever, cable ties, whatever, to hold it to our bracket here. Good as gold, and that will actually steady this big bracket up, because the 200 series hoses pretty stiff, pumps are pretty light, they'll hold themselves. Now, someone suggested what I can do to convert these from just a straight hose barb. You'd barely call it a barb actually, because try and do this with one hand would be difficult. There we go. So they have no grippy things at all, little one-way teethy, holdy, hosey things. None of those. I'm never going to be able to put that back on with one hand. Someone said that you can get some of these and drill them out, glue them on there. Well, that would potentially work if you've got absolute faith in the glue. The original recommendation actually was an aluminium weld-on fitting, which doesn't have a nut on there. But that's quite risky, because as you tighten that up, you're going to bust off your glue. So I could do that. I could drill that out, slip it onto there. It's like 9.13 or something, that plastic. So drill it out to 9 and press it on with some glue. That would work. The other one is, I don't know if you can see that in there. You probably can't. Hang on. The tube adapter. So what we've got there is this is the wrong size, by the way. This is 1/2 inch and it's AN8. We need AN6 and we need, I don't know what size that is, 7/16 or whatever it is, 8mm, 9.13 or whatever it is. What they have in there is an olive. You can see the shiny little olive inside there. So when you do this nut up here, this one that I'm turning here, when you do that up, it crushes that olive onto a tube, which, if it was the right size, would be that tube, and you would do that up, and that won't come off, and we won't need any glue, and it'll be awesome. So I might see about getting a couple of those, and then we can have our hoses go from there to wherever, and that'll be good. Just to make thinking easier, mock it up again. So there'll be 2 of those. I'm going to build a bracket that sits them right there. 1, 2. And then we can go 90 degrees hose end from there, and across to there. 1, 2. And I'll even put a little bracket on here to put a couple of hose holders. That's what I'll do. 1 or 2 of those and make up my mind. Then I have to buy some more for underneath the car. Now, something I didn't talk about, but I did read and do know, is in the instructions for these here, they talk about what size fuel hoses you need. So we've got 2 systems that are -6. So you would think, looking at that, woohoo, we've got 1,000 horsepower worth of fuel. Sorry about the flickering lights, but E85 size multiplied by 0.68. So -6 hose will support 340 horsepower. So they reckon I've got enough for 680 horsepower worth of fuel. Meh, there'll be a margin of error, won't there? We'll be alright. 700. We're going for 700. Why not? That'll be fine. So I'm not sure whether they've got their guidelines from. I'm assuming they've read something somewhere. There's always a lot of talk about what size fuel hoses you need for what size horsepower, and a lot of people go way too far. Like the Gloria with AN10 hose for 400 kilowatts was ridiculous. You can do 400 kilowatts on AN6. I guarantee it. I know you can safely on 98, not on the 85. Much more than 400 kilowatts, you go to 8. We've got, like I say, we've got 2 lots of -6. Will you be quiet, Mr. Hoist? Stop creaking and groaning in the background there. Hey, look, it's only 20 to 5. We can keep working. It's after 6. It's after 6. The clock's lying. There, I'm really late for going and getting the dinner, but that is basically where I am going to put those. Yay. So fuel hoses from there to there, down to there, and then to the back of the car. That's it for today, guys. Cheers. Bye.